These are all very inspiring women. They have paved their own way without letting other people's opinions or their own fears get in the way. While all these women are extremely successful, and I have no doubt they've been very ambitious and held themselves to high standards, I also don't think that throughout this journey of theirs that they expected to be exactly where they are today. I recently read a poem that said, "Happiness is enthusiasm minus expectations." And this really resonated with me, because while we live in a new world where everything is possible, we also live in a world where we're more unhappy than we've ever been before. And there are obviously many reasons for this, but one that I think is affecting our careers and our well-being within our careers is this extreme fear of failure combined with an obsession for success. And success defined as a set end destination. So what if we destroy this limiting belief and started to optimizing for a more successful everyday? Needless to say, I feel super proud and excited to welcome Emily Fletcher on stage. Help me give her a big round of applause.
How are you guys feeling? Excited? Nervous? I know you guys have your fear cards, and I thought I'd just check in. How many of you feel like anxiety has ever kept you from speaking up in a professional meeting? Hands up. Yeah? Okay. And there's a reason why Harvard Medical School is calling stress the black plague of our century. They're saying that stress is responsible for 90% of all doctors' visits. And the cool thing here is that stress is not an incurable illness. So, I'm going to walk you through an exercise in just a few moments, but I want to educate you, I want to give you some gifts so that you can take these tools with you and practice some of these things even without me. And we're going to use our thumb and our ring finger to close the right and left nostrils to help to balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Really good. One final cycle. As you inhale, again, imagining this breath and energy coming into the base of the spine. As you inhale, letting this breath and energy traveling up your spine.
How can we all improve at creating healthier boundaries, both in our personal life and our professional life?
I'm from Sweden. In Sweden, people just hang out at home. They host friends at home, and they cook, and they bake, and I love that. And I had lost that part of my lifestyle when moving to New York, because I got so sucked into this rabbit hole of doing. So now I try to prioritize weekdays, being dedicated for work. On the weekdays, I give it my all. My work is my priority. My husband knows it, and my dog tags along. And I try to do all the social stuff during the work week. And then the weekends are my sacred days. I rarely leave my neighborhood, and I bake in the morning, and I rarely have any plans. At least not scheduled plans. I don't like to be on a schedule on the weekend, because that's an amazing contrast for me to like have a schedule Monday to Friday, and then weekend, just like see how you feel.
What characteristic trait of yours do you attribute your success to? Just one.
I think resilience is something that's extremely important when we think about building anything, whether it's personal relationships or a career, because very few things in life are a series of perfectly planned events. So being able to adapt to circumstances and accept change of plans and embrace hardships is really important. This year I definitely learned that hardships more often than not come to teach you something and can actually help you get back on the right track, even though it doesn't feel like that when you're in it, because it just feels horrible. But the hardships are here to get you on the path that you need to be.
But tonight I want to talk to you about how we actually should be striving to take the path of most resistance, because that is the path of most growth and most opportunity. So before this exercise, we passed out some cards, and I got some answers back from all of you, actually a ton of answers back, about what fears are holding you back. This person said, "I'm afraid of reaching out to potential new clients and not getting them. I'm afraid of not being good enough to find the next opportunity. I'm afraid of not having all the answers. And I'm afraid of working for myself." Fear is pretty universal as a result. So the amygdala in our brain, which is a primal function of the brain, lights up with fear when we really try and do anything new that's outside of our usual routine. And a lot of the fear thoughts that are pretty universal that go through our brain are things like, what will people think, which is a fear of judgment. It will be easier if I just do it myself, a fear of losing control. Maybe I don't have enough experience, a fear of inadequacy. Or what if I make the wrong choice, a fear of failure. And the people that were creating most of the content that was created for women were white men. And so we set out to really grow a roster of women that could really represent our audience back in our content.
So please help me and give a welcome to our panelists. We have Noor Tagouri, who is a journalist and an activist. We have Morgan von Steen, who is a Glossier alumni and now founder of Super System. We have Lindsay Peoples Wagner, editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. What was your first job?
I was 15, turning 16, and I got a job at a local newspaper in DC.
I worked at a Cold Stone Printery. My first one was at Olive.
And what did you dream of becoming when you grew up back then?
I always knew I wanted to be a storyteller before I knew the term journalism.
I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to be the editor of Teen Vogue.
Oh, yeah. Before the followers, before Instagram, how did you get started on this path?
The way that I was raised was always more intention-based than anything. So, like, I may have had these dreams of, like, becoming a reporter, becoming an anchor, whatever it was, but it was more about why I wanted to become those things or why I wanted to tell the stories that I wanted to tell. And that was, like, a very, like, I've always had a job in journalism, but I had to unlearn the things that I learned in college and how I learned what journalism actually looked like. Because I went to University of Maryland and I studied broadcast journalism, but all of my professors were cis, straight white men, except for one who was a woman of color, and she taught journalism in the Middle East and North Africa. And so they have a very specific perspective on what news is and what storytelling is. Actually, a key strength in what it is that you're pursuing, because that is where you're going to be able to find the root of commonality of the people you're trying to build trust with anyway.
Like I didn't come from this world of fashion, and I think when you don't come from it, you just always feel like an outsider. You always want to help other people, and you always want to create all these ladders around you to make sure that people can constantly get access to the industry. And I don't know, I've gone through so many phases of it, because I think that when I first started out, I remember I was so desperate to meet any woman of color who was in a position in fashion, and I was so...
Some of the people who have come out of the woodwork to help me so deeply have been those fellow executive assistants, those chiefs of staff. I like to say that they're the EA army, and they're the people that when I need like someone really intimidating's email, I can get it in like 20 minutes, because they know his executive assistant's like best friend's sister. It's a weird network. I recommend the role like so deeply to anyone, really.
Thank you to our amazing speakers tonight, Lindsay, Morgan, Noor. Thank you guys so much.